probably a predictable question at this point, but has Mike come along anymore from what you've seen?
Yeah, he's come along. He was on the floor yesterday getting more shots up than usual. That's about where it's at.
So
He wasn't really involved in any drills or anything like that, but he got some shots up.
is it just casual shooting, or
Yeah.
still would call him doubtful for both games this week?
Yeah.
Given that some of the other players are kind of getting more used to playing that point guard position now, if he does come back, would he take over the point guard position again, or would it kind of be a mix-up of who runs that position?
He would probably, because that is the role he played the majority of the last 3 months, it probably would make most sense to just put him right back into that role, and I think the other guys would adjust just fine.
Sure. I was watching the game on TV on Sunday, and it said that you had mentioned this was the favorite team you had ever coached, or one of your favorite teams. I didn't know you had said that before, but I guess what makes this group of guys possibly your favorite team, or one of your favorite teams that you've ever had?
What I should have been, I'm not sure exactly how it came out, but it's one of the most favorite teams I've ever coached. And the reason that is because no maintenance. Their attitudes and their efforts, especially with what we've been through, it's been great. They're a fun group of guys to be around. They're a group of guys that are doing the right things, and I enjoy coaching them. You know, when you get into this business, yeah, you need to win games. We know the alternative, and you need to win ball games. But when you get into the business, I think for the most part, you want to work with guys and try to develop them as players and develop your team as good teams. And these guys allow you to coach them, and that's not always the case.
Sure.
So it's really been a fun year in that sense.
This theme of losses keep mounting, but the team is staying positive, was that something you had to kind of encourage that mindset, or they've kind of had that before you even had to, tell them to stay positive?
Well, I think it shows the character who they are. You don't really change their character a whole lot, and I think it's because of who they are that we're able to continue to go on. And even though we're getting beat, and we've been beat for a while, we're able to deal with the adversity and move on and stay together as a group.
Sure.
Been a star-crossed couple of years for Mike, and just the injuries he's had to deal with, the thumb and the knee, and I mean, as his senior year winds down, I guess how would you characterize his career here?
Unfortunate. Here's a young man that transferred from Fresno State, wanted the opportunity to play here in the Pac-12 and be a Coug. Paid his own way the first year as a walk-on, and then he's just had some unfortunate luck. The thumb last year, and really wasn't able to show what he was capable of doing. And I think he's one of the most improved players in the conference. What he was able to do, on the defensive end, what he's able to do rebounding wise, running the offense, scoring points, yet at the same time running the point guard position, which he had never done in his life, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. It's just too bad that you hope guys come into your program and just play injury free forever, and that's not reality. Guys do get injured, and Mike has had two injuries that have held him back. But man, if he wouldn't have got injured and been able to play injury free for 2 years, I think he would have had a great 2 years here.
And Brock is rather senior. Where do you think he fits in among some of the better players you've coached as a head coach? Or is he the best? Is he one of the main? He's
definitely one of the best. And what makes him one of the best is his attitude, his willingness to accept his role. Of course, it's a scoring role, which most guys embrace. But there's times where this year he's had to set a lot of screens to free other guys up, which in turn help him. It has helped him get open too. But I think what's made him special is his passion and his desire to compete. And he comes out every game, most every practice, and really competes to win. Just like Mike, same deal.
Do you see him as an NBA player?
I think he has a chance. I think he has a chance. You know, everybody that gets to the NBA, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of guys that get to the NBA, it's not just right out of college. Just like recently, Aaron Baines, an ex-Coug who spent 3 or 4 years playing overseas, and now he's in the NBA. So I don't know if that's the route Brock will take, or you know, if he gets drafted or what. But at some point, I believe he's going to have a chance to play in the NBA. He's done a good job of continuing to develop as a player, and he's better this year than he is last year, even though it doesn't show as far as points per game. But there's different dynamics this year within our program, and he's still an extremely valuable player.
What kind of reception could we see for him on senior night?
Well, I think Cougar fans all around appreciate who Brock Modem is and what he's given to WSU the last 4 years. Great kid, great player.
He made such a huge jump. I think it was from 2 years, I guess, from his sophomore year to his junior year. How did that whole process come about? Because he was, I guess, probably the most improved player in the whole conference that year, right?
To be honest with you, I don't remember if he was voted most improved or not. Do you remember? Oh, he was. I guess he was. I'm sure a lot of that had to do with how many points per game he scored. But like I said, he's a better basketball player now than he was a year ago, yet he hasn't scored quite as many points.
Just basketball IQ-wise?
Yeah, and understanding some of the intangibles to become a great player. You know, defensively, rebounding, how to handle double teams, just how to handle different situations on the court. But to answer your question, I think why he was able to make that jump is, one, opportunity for more playing time, and two, his desire to be a great player. He went home each summer and really worked hard on his game. And in fact, the guy that's worked with him over the years is here. He just got to town a couple days ago, and he's here to watch. He watched Brock in Seattle, and he's here this week to see his last 2 home games.
Very cool.
I know outsiders might look at this and say, well, you know, Mike turned into one of your best players, one of your most valuable players this year. Obviously, Brock is who he is. Why can this team be better next year without those guys, with them gone?
Great question. Same reason I think Klay Thompson was able to continue to improve. You know, he came in here as Coach Bennett and his staff recruited him, and he came in here as a freshman without any other Pac-12 offers, and averaged about, I'm not sure what, 11 or 12 points a game his freshman year, had a really good season. But I think his development the next 2 years he became a great scorer and not just a shooter. And he's talked about that quite a bit. I think Brock Modem has done the same thing. I think Mike Ladd has grown as a player. And we have other kids in the program right now, whether they're playing this year or redshirting, that are developing as players. And sometimes people don't see that, but there's guys on the back burner that are getting ready for next year and can just literally blow up like Brock did, or like Mike would have definitely done if he'd been injury-free. Kelly Olynyk, he's done it at Gonzaga. You know, people often wonder, well, how is this team going to replace these guys? But there's other kids that are going to step up the next year, and we have those guys.
I assume one of those, maybe not in terms of, you know, blowing up scoring wise, or maybe, but you've been high on Jordan Rayleigh, I know. What role does he feel that you guys don't have right now, or what would he add?
Really, more than anything else, is just his size, and that's not to take away any of his abilities skill-wise, but he's a big kid. He'll be the biggest guy we've put out there in 4 or 5 years, since Aaron Baines, and that size helps. Now he also has good hands. He's a decent shot blocker. I mean, we're bottom of the Pac-12 in blocking shots, which is not a huge priority to me, but it is nice to have a guy in there with a defensive presence that can potentially block a shot or two. And then on the defensive end, he's, as good as Brock is and DJ, they're kind of combo bigs. They're guys that can step out and shoot the ball like they did just the last game, and yet go inside a little bit. Jordan's not going to be stepping out and shooting a lot of threes, but inside 10 feet, he's gonna have a presence down there on the offensive end.
Is he like a true back to the basket kind
Yeah,
of guy?
yeah.
And
But again, he's not a bad shooter. He can shoot that mid-range shot fairly well too. And he tells me he can shoot the three, but I'm not going to listen to him because we need him in the post.
I know he's not practicing, and so it's probably really hard to have a handle on where Q's at right now. But I mean, do you hear reports about what he looks like at the rec or whatever? Or?
Yeah. Well, have you played against him over there?
I've seen it. I haven't played against him.
He's good. Q Johnson's really good.
Does he really play at the rec?
I believe so.
Isn't that a good way to
I
get
haven't been over there, or I've
playing?
never seen him there, but he wants to play basketball.
Sure.
And right now, that's a good place to go and get a pickup game. So he's over there.
How essential is he to what you want to do next year?
Oh, he's very important to what we want to do. For one reason, because we do lose Brock and Mike, and yet he can instantly step in and score. And score a variety of ways.
I got one more. You had mentioned Kelly Olynyk before, and we're talking about UCLA for the next game. Shabazz Muhammad is he the most talented player you faced this year? You think, or is Olynyk right there at the top? Or I guess who do you feel is the best player you faced this year?
Ah, boy, back in whenever it was, November, the McElmore kid, Ben McElmore from Kansas, is really good. And then there's just a lot of guys in our league that are very, very good, along with some of the Gonzaga guys.
Yeah.
So the kid that hit the last, Elston Turner, I think's his name, the guy that hit the buzzer beater for Texas A&M when they beat us. He has a chance to be a pro. He's very good, but Muhammad's definitely one of them.